St. Margaret Clitherow is an English saint and martyr of the Roman Catholic Church, sometimes called the Pearl of York. Life. Clitherow was born Margaret Middleton in 1556, one of 5 children of Thomas and Jane Middleton. Her father was a respected businessman, a wax chandler and sheriff of York in 1564. He died when Margaret was 14. She married John Clitherow, a wealthy butcher and a chamberlain of the city, in 1571 and bore him 3 children. The family lived in the Shambles. She converted to Roman Catholicism in 1574. Although her husband belonged to the established church, he was supportive as his brother William was a Roman Catholic priest. He paid her fines for not attending church services. She was first imprisoned in 1577 for failing to attend church. 2 more incarcerations at York Castle followed. Her 3rd child, William, was born in prison. Margaret risked her life by harboring and maintaining priests. She provided 2 chambers, one adjoining her house and, with her house under surveillance, she rented house some distance away, where she kept priests hidden and Mass was celebrated through the thick of the persecution. Her home became one of the most important hiding places for fugitive priests in the north of England. Local tradition holds that she also housed her clerical guests in the Black Swan Inn at Peasholm Green, where the Queen's agents were lodged. She sent her older son, Henry, to the English college relocated in Reims, to train for the priesthood. Her husband was summoned by the authorities to explain why his oldest son had gone abroad, and in March 1586 the Clitherow house was searched. A frightened boy revealed the location of the priest hole. Margaret was arrested and called before the York Assizes for the crime of harboring Roman Catholic priests. She refused to plead, preventing a trial that would entail her children being made to testify and being subjected to torture. Although pregnant with her 4th child, she was executed on Lady Day, 1586, in the Tolbooth Bridge, by being crushed to death. The standard inducement to force a plea. The 2 sergeants who should have carried out the execution hired 4 desperate beggars to do it instead. She was stripped and had a handkerchief tied across her face, then laid across a sharp rock the size of a man's fist. The door from her own house was put on top of her and loaded with an immense weight of rocks and stones so that the sharp rock would break her back. Her death occurred within 15 minutes, but her body was left for 6 hours before the weight was removed. Following her execution, Elizabeth I wrote to the citizens of York expressing her horror at the treatment of a woman. Because of her sex, she argued, Clitherow should not have been executed. Veneration. Clitherow was beatified in 1929 by Pope Pius XI and canonized on the 25th of October 1970 by Pope Paul VI among the 40 martyrs of England and Wales. The feast day in the current Roman Catholic calendar is the 4th of May in England and the 25th of October in Wales. She is also commemorated in England on the 30th of August, along with martyrs Anne Line and Margaret Ward. A relic, said to be her hand, is housed in the Bar Convent in York. St. Margaret's shrine is at 3536 The Shambles. John Clitherow had his butcher shop at 35. However, the street was renumbered in the 18th century, so it's thought the house was actually opposite. Legacy. St. Margaret Clitherow is the patroness of the Catholic Women's League. A number of schools in England are named after Margaret Clitherow, including those in Bracknell, Brixham, Manchester, Middlesbrough, Thamesmead SE28, Brent, London NW10 and Tunbridge. The Roman Catholic primary school in Nottingham's Bestwood estate is named after Clitherow. In the United States, St. Margaret of York Church and School in Loveland, a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio, is also named after her. Another school named after her is St. Margaret Clitherow RC Primary School, located next to Stevenage Borough Football Club. She is a co-patroness of the Latin Mass Society, who organize an annual pilgrimage to York in her honor. A group of parishes in the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Liverpool, Sacred Heart in Hyndesford, St. Richard's in Atherton, Holy Family in Boothstown, St. Ambrose Barlow in Astley, St. Gabriel's Higher Folds in Lee are now united as a single community with St. Margaret Clitherow as its patron. The English poet and Jesuit priest Gerard Manley Hopkins wrote a poem honoring God's daughter Margaret Clitherow. The poem, entitled Margaret Clitherow, was among fragments and unfinished poems of Hopkins discovered after his death and is a tribute to the woman, to her faith and courage, and to the manner of her death. In 2008, a commemorative plaque was installed at the Micklegate end of York's Ouse Bridge to mark the site of her martyrdom. The Bishop of Middlesbrough unveiled it in a ceremony on Friday, the 29th of August 2008.